tree. Into the roots to make the symbol, and those roots became the tree.
The faraway.
It transitions to our favorite freaking part of the episode.
Sarah's basement has become like the comedy shack. Like it is hilarious in there. Victor has gone full Joker mode.
Victor had her in there with the dog. You're not doing it. Like her hands she was trying so hard.
Victor has turned into Joe Jackson. He's like, you go get this 8 count.
Joe Jackson.
You go get this 8 count right. And you go.
Because we talked about this. Didn't we say that Boyd was probably going to have to compromise himself?
And he sure is. He's compromising himself, talking about you are my family.
Hello, and welcome to another edition of the New Watchers on the Wall. And my God, in episode 8, did From finally turn it up. Because they had the people wondering what the heck was going on. Some of the last 2 or 3 episodes had the lowest ratings that they've had this year of the show. But my God, they turned it up. Did an amazing job, and there is so much to discuss, so much that what are we doing later on today, Candace?
We are doing our second live. We're doing a live at 8:00 tonight, so please look out for that.
Yeah.
We want to discuss this episode with you guys live in effect.
And just have a straight up reaction to you video with you guys, because we have never done that, but this episode inspired us so much that we're going live. Guys, with this particular review, we're going to have some B-roll in there, but it's not going to be as much as it generally is. We want to make sure that we're putting up content that doesn't get copyright strikes. So this episode starts off with Boyd. He is taking Fatima into that same shed that he hid Sarah in when they went on their excursion in the tent, if you remember, in season 2. This is crazy to me. Because we talked about this. Didn't we say that Boyd was probably going to have to compromise himself?
And he sure is. He's compromising himself, talking about you are my family. I guess. I mean, I guess I can understand that part of just being like, yeah, I got to kind of help this chick out, you know.
And this is the thing. We talked about how we felt like he would have to do this because he's trying to make up for Elgin. And I think he's trying to make up for Ellis. And in some ways, I think he sees a lot of similarities with Fatima and what happened with his wife. And he's trying not to make the second mistake. But Fatima got some crazy stuff going on, and he may need to take action. So this is crazy to me that we see him completely compromising himself and his values to take care of Fatima. Crazy.
So we transitioned to Jim, Jade, and Tabitha, right? And Jim, Jade, and Tabitha, they're walking back into the town. The Matthews family goes into their home, and Ethan just runs straight upstairs and doesn't say anything to anybody.
And this is crazy because you can feel the tension. You can feel the tension, and that something is going to happen as it relates to the family. It transitions to Jade. He's in the bar. He hears a noise, and we're all like, what the heck is that noise? And guess who comes popping out from the bathroom? It looks like Henry. And obviously, he's been hanging out and getting super drunk in that bar since Donna.
He's taking over the bar. Okay.
My thing is, ever since the bartender's been gone, who the hell's been making alcohol?
I don't know, but maybe the people, I have no idea. Maybe he had a secret stash they found, who knows?
Or he must have left this recipe out for everybody.
He's like, just in case I die.
So it transitions to the colony house, and this is when we see someone has discovered Tilly's body. Elgin also is walking outside with that damn Polaroid camera.
That keeps flashing on its own.
And it flashes on its own again. And this is really interesting to me, that the show chose to have the camera be instructing him, because in some ways the kimono lady could just say, do this, do that, do that. I thought it was a cool way, a unique way for the kimono lady or whatever she's representing to be communicating with him. It was unique. It was interesting.
Yeah. And so it transitions to Julie, who has woken up in the clinic, and she wants to thank Christy and Meryl for letting her stay the night. And then Randall says, you don't want to thank me? It gives like, where my hug at? Like, it's very like,
where my hug at?
Yeah,
it is like, what is his intentions? But nevertheless, Julie says that she wants to go back, but Randall's like, look, I ain't going back to that damn place. And he recommends to her, he's like, look, if I was you, I would stay your ass away from there as well.
Right. Boyd and Ellis are walking up to Colony House. Boyd tells him that if anybody asks him, tell him that you were in the sheriff's office. And Boyd is compromising himself again to hide
The murder
the murder of Fatima, right? I mean, of
Tilly.
There's too many names. There's
Yeah.
too many names.
And what's crazy is Ellis actually wants to tell the damn truth. And Boyd is like, no, we cannot tell the truth. The town can't handle it. The town can't take it. And I'm just wondering why Boyd feels that way right now. Later on in the episode, Donna's going to say, look, you cannot do what you did with Sarah because the people in the town no longer trust you like they did. But I'm curious to know why Boyd at this particular moment is feeling like they have to hide it instead of coming out and telling the truth.
What do you think? Why do you think Ellis wants to tell the truth? Because he has to know that this is not going to end well. I mean, it could go either way, you know. So it's like, why do you think he wants to risk it?
That's a good question. The only thing I could think about right now, without having like, you know, we watch it and we jump on here. We don't do all of that, watching it 30 times and all of that kind of stuff and cheating like some reviewers. Like some reviewers are doing because they obviously had access to the leaks weeks ago because they've been saying stuff that's actually happening. Or they get
screeners and pretend like they're doing theories.
No, those people are fine. But there are some people out here who have been masquerading. Like I was on a video and somebody like 2-3 weeks ago was like, Julie's gonna drop the rope down there. This is like 3 weeks ago they said this. And I'm like, where did they get that conclusion? But we digress. Anyway, but the reason we'll save that for 8 o'clock. The reason I think Ellis is hiding it is because Ellis really hasn't come to the conclusion that something is really wrong with her and that she might be turned to a monster. His love for her is masking that. He's not able to think rationally. And in my mind, I think Ellis is like, well, if we come clean and just tell the town it was an accident, we could maybe still live in the town. Because if you don't tell and come out and tell the truth, the only option you have is to fucking leave and to go hide in the woods and try to survive on your own. And that's not really a viable option. That's what I was thinking. And audience, what do you think? You know what I'm saying? And don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Yeah. We're really close to 2,000 subscribers. It transitions to people standing over Tilly's body. And Boyd walks in, and this is crazy. This brother completely pretends like he has no idea what's going on.
I could not fake that well. I could not lie. I was like, he's just like, oh no.
What happened? Did anybody hear anything? And I was like, damn, Boyd, like this brother.
Like, God damn.
So then they talk about the need to interview people at the Colony House, right? And then this is when we see something pretty interesting. Boyd says he's going to walk up the road with Ellis in case there's some people that did this to Tilly. And in my mind, I'm like, ain't nobody came to the town
late at night,
caught Tilly slipping, and then that's what they did with her. But the people somehow go for it. And this was an interesting moment. Boyd says, hey, Kenny, I know you're not my deputy, but can you go and help with the interviews and ask questions, right? And Acosta goes with her because she actually is probably one of the few people that maybe has some experience interrogating and doing real police work.
And it is interesting that she asked Boyd, like, are we good? You know, like, are we cool now? Which is, you know, caught me off guard, actually, because I was like, I thought she was going to really be, either she, A, has some bullets and she's not tripping over him keeping them little bullets or whatever, or B, she's like, does actually feel bad. And you know.
And the thing is, I think they're setting it up because Acosta is going to do real police work. And I think it's going to put a situation where Boyd is constantly deteriorating in the eyes of the people in the town. And I think it's going to continue to do that. Because even if Boyd says Fatima did kill the thing, right? Mm-hmm. Eventually, they're going to say, well, where did she go? How did she hide? Boyd still got to lie and say, well, I don't know, when he knows all along he helped hide her initially. Right. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So that's going to be weird. Donna walks in and she's talking and she says, look, we got to investigate Sarah because she's one of the few people in this town that have killed people. And boy says it's not Sarah.
And
Which is interesting.
How do you know that?
How do you know?
How do you know?
It transitions to our favorite freaking part of the episode.
Sarah's basement has become like the comedy shack. Like it is hilarious in there. Victor has gone full Joker mode.
Victor had her in there with the dog. You're not doing it. Like her hands she was trying so hard.
Victor has turned into Joe Jackson. He's like, you go get this 8 count.
Joe Jackson?
You go get this 8 count right. And you go. He was crashing out.
Yeah.
He was crashing out.
And he has a complete meltdown. And he's like, you're not doing it right. And it transitions to Jim and Tabitha. They're in the kitchen. She's cutting up some fruits and vegetables. And Jim has a conversation. He said, look, do you know that while you were out, the phone rang? And it was our son on the line. And he's basically telling her that something in this town knows so much about us that it's scary, it's dangerous, and we may not be able to take everything on the surface level. Mm-hmm. And as they're having that conversation, guess who comes knocking at the door?
Sarah. Sarah is at the door, and she's explaining Victor is having a meltdown and needs help, right? And they don't understand why Tabitha would trust her.
But this is the thing. So she comes and asks for help. Why the hell does Tabitha trust her? If you recall, Sarah set her ass up in season 1 when she tried to kill her son. I'm not coming even if I did decide to go with you, I'm rolling with you with my husband or somebody. I'm not rolling with you by myself.
Where was Jim?
And Jim just let her roll off.
Jim talked all that shit, or he's going to talk all that shit about protecting his, and basically he just kind of lets her go by.
Yeah, crazy. And it transitions to Elgin. He's in the clinic and he's looking for something. Randall sees him and he acts like he's coming because he needs a Band-Aid. But he's actually coming there to get a blood transfusion type pack because he's about to go on a crazy ass mission.
It transitions to Victor and Tabitha meeting him downstairs in Sarah's basement. She tells her that she has to be the one to make Victor talk. He starts to have another breakdown,
right? And he's just having a crazy breakdown, and they're trying to comfort him and trying to calm him down. And just as they start to kind of get somewhere, they transition to Julie. Mm-hmm. She's just got back home. That girl ain't even been in the house for 10 seconds. And Jim then got his coat on. She ain't even got a chance to close the door. Jim had one of his arms already in his coat, and he's ready to roll out.
Cause he was gonna leave the baby upstairs by himself, apparently. Man, cause he was putting on that jacket before she even came in the house.
Jim be crazy with it. He's like, go upstairs and watch your brother. I got some business.
He is irresponsible.
Crazy. He transitions. It transitions, and then we see Henry talking to Jade. And he explains how he feels bad because his wife used to have some of the same conversations and drawings as what he sees Jade has going on, but he wouldn't listen to her. He always said, look, you're crazy. And he asked Jade an interesting question. He said, a lot of motherfuckers are trying to figure this out. What makes you think you can figure it out? And Jade says, because I'm a smart motherfucker, basically, right? The typical Jade response and answer. It transitions to Jim. He walks in and he says he's done with him constantly being around his wife, taking her places and his son, putting them in these precarious situations. And they have a really good conversation. And this is when we see Jim. He tells him, you always act like you're the smartest prick in the room. And Jay says, why do you give a shit whether I'm smart or not? I'm trying to get our asses home, and you should be happy about that. And this is really interesting because he walks out and then Henry is like, well, that was super freaking productive. I mean, the way he said it.
You forget that Henry's sitting there watching what's going down. Like, he's just quiet as mouth, drinking his drink, like.
Just straight chilling. straight chilling.
And if I was Jade, I would ask Jim, okay, cool. Where are your kids and your wife now?
Crazy.
Where are they?
Crazy. And it transitions to Ellis. He's at that shack with Fatima. And he's comforting her saying, look, you're going to be fine. And she explains, I killed somebody. I got something in me. I got all this anger in me. and we got to do something about it. And she's like, I don't know what to do about this situation. This is when we see her give her lucky handkerchief or whatever the case may be. And he puts a towel on the door and he leaves. Somebody's reflecting. She kind of collapses to the ground. She's sitting there looking at her handkerchief, and that kimono lady appears to her for the very first time.
Now we get to Elgin, and he's in the bathroom because he's going to do, his blood transfusion work that he was instructed to do in the picture.
And this is crazy. Audience, put a comment below. That container that he was putting the blood in looked kind of weird to me. It looked like it had some yellow stuff in it. I don't know. Maybe
dirty. Maybe it's just
maybe
dirty.
It was dirty, but I'm wondering if that was that damn bile that Boyd had. I don't. Maybe I'm overdoing it. Maybe I'm going too far. I don't know. Maybe I didn't really see something in that glass. Maybe I'm tripping. But what do y'all think about that, audience?
Henry.
So it transitions to Henry, and he asks, "Can I give you some unsolicited advice?" Right? And he says, maybe when your wife is talking, you should shut the fuck up and listen. And he says, look, a lot of times we think we're doing stuff to help others, but it's because we are actually afraid.
Henry is out here saving marriages. You hear that? Maybe just shut the fuck up and listen to your wife. Who knew Henry had such great advice?
Man,
saving lives.
Straight great advice.
Are you listening? Are you listening?
Oh, God, here you go. So Jim walks over to take a seat, and they have a conversation, and Jim tells him that he doesn't drink because his father was a drunk, and he kind of looks at Henry like your ass. And he tells a story about when his first child was born. He went across the street to the bar, which is fucking weird to me, pours a big-ass glass of alcohol.
Right.
You ain't in there swaddling the baby.
Weird.
You ain't doing none of that shit. And then he said he made a promise that he was going to be a better father and that he wasn't going to be doing all of this drinking. A better father, a better husband.
Henry pours him a glass.
Giving him a chance to renew
renew his vows. He said, renew your vows. Okay? You look at this glass that I just poured you of this alcohol you're not going to drink, and you make a vow to be a better husband and a better father, and go out there and find your fucking family and keep them out of trouble and not leave them to and fro.
Exactly.
You know?
And then that is 100%. And it's like he says he's going to do these things, but damn, Jim, do it. Mm-hmm. So it transitions to Julie and Ethan, who are back at that broken cavern entrance. Julie explained that she can hear things in her head ever since that experience, but when she stands here, it gets quiet.
She hears children.
Yeah,
that's
Ethan,
what she said.
Crazy. Ethan tells her that they are at a threshold at the hero's journey, and that she has to be brave and that they can go in together. And this is what tripped me out, because we saw a boy go back to this thing, but he had to light a fire. Why was Julie allowed to go in there without having to light a fire?
I don't think the fire matters.
I think the fire does matter. But to me, it may be an indication of what you were saying before we got on, is that there are entities here. Some entities are bad and they're trying to do something, and then some are good and they're trying to lead people. So maybe one of those good entities, is allowing different things to happen, just like what we see with Elgin. I think that's a bad entity and it's guiding him. And then you might have the good entity who wanted her to go down there, because we're going to see some crazy stuff when she goes down there.
Why didn't the boy in white tell Sarah to kill Ethan?
I don't know if it was the boy in white. I know she had the things in her arms.
Oh, okay.
I don't think. But then it transitions when they're walking. Julie enters the same tunnel where Martin was. She sees Martin and he tells her that he needs her to throw a rope down.
So we finally find out who threw the rope down.
And this is crazy because, man, I've seen a couple of YouTubers theorize that she was going to throw a rope down there weeks ago. And it's like, why are people acting like they came up with these great theories when all along you had access to stuff? And I'm not talking about big reviewers that get screeners, because they don't do that kind of stuff. The the spoilers and stuff were flying around on Reddits and Discords and stuff like that.
But I mean, you know, play devil's advocate. It wouldn't be a hard thing to make a connection to because, again, we saw Boyd come out of there. He was in the thing. We got the rope or whatever, and we saw in the last episode that she had a feeling that she needed to go in there. So you can, I mean, 1 + 1 = 2. So I kind of felt like,
But it was only the last episode that she saw that thing, right? People were making that assumption weeks ago.
oh well, then that's the case. Then
because
yeah.
I could see after last week's episode, I could see how somebody could come up with that theory. So it transitions to Victor and Tabitha. She's asking him gently questions, you know, because it's not working, and they asking some questions. You know, where were you when? What was the weather like when this happened? And then he starts to remember that he was playing hide and seek that day and he was trying to find his sister. And she's such a damn great hider. He went to all the places to try to find her and he finally found her. Well, he didn't find her, but he went to one place that he thought that he had never searched for her for, which was in that damn basement.
So
it transitions to Kenny. They're at the house and they're questioning 2 members of the colony house. Right. Interesting looking couple. You can tell they're a little couple. Old boy is kind of old looking and the lady next to him is a little bit younger. And he says, look, you over here questioning me. You need to question the damn town killer. And then he says, well, shit, didn't she also kill
your father?
And Officer Acosta is like, what? Whoa. And she can't believe it because she's like, what is really going on? It transitions to Ellis. He says that he wants
to live in the woods, and it tells Boyd that they could be safe from the monsters, you know, as long as they have a talisman
in the woods. And Boyd says, look, I'm not afraid of you surviving in the woods with the talisman because that's very possible and likely. I'm afraid of fucking Fatima and what she's going to do to you. And Ellis is not registering yet that this chick is fucking dangerous. It's not registering with him yet because he's still trying to hold on to it like, yeah, maybe we could go out and we could be safe. And, you know, he's not really thinking because if you do go out, how long are you going to go out there?
Yeah.
How are you guys going to eat?
And Donna comes in always at the right place at the right time with her hands in her pockets.
And she knows something is up.
She knows something is weird.
And then this is when Boyd tells her,
yeah, it was Fatima.
Fatima killed her, and he's trying to hold on and says that I want to try to hide it from the people. And Donna's like, we're not doing that, bro. If you don't tell,
I'm going to.
And Boyd is arguing that the people will accept it like they accepted Sarah. But
they didn't accept it. They just kind of was like,
yeah. And then Donna is like, listen, bro, the folk don't respect you like that no more. So it transitions to Officer Acosta and Kenny.
Oh, they already murdered 2 people?
Look, it's just, she's different now, and Boyd trusts her.
Who gives a shit what Boyd thinks?
They can't believe there wasn't that Sarah was not a primary suspect. Also, Officer Acosta is starting, you could tell, to challenge Boyd's thinking because she was like, well, why isn't that the first person? You know, typical police work is Sarah should have been the first person investigated. And then also she's thinking, why did Boyd allow her to come back to the town, not face consequences? And you can see her antennas clicking. It transitions back to Julie. She's screaming. And then she stops and she's able to kind of walk around. She looks up and she sees Martin. Martin knows her damn name. I don't know how he knows her name. And he tells her he needs her to throw the rope down. And Julie asks, how do you know my name? And golly, I'm glad they finally brought this to light because in our last video, we were talking about we were upset because in season 2, there was so much stuff going on and they hadn't touched on it. We were mad about the rope being thrown. We were mad about the bio blood. We were mad that they completely changed the philosophy of killing the monster. All of these different kind of things. So they gave us something and I'm glad for it. The next scene, it transitions, and we see Julie. she's
walking, and she hears those voices of her mom and Victor. And this is during the time period when the house collapsed. Remember, Tabitha was digging that hole in the basement trying to figure out where those phone and electrical lines were going, and she saw it led to nothing. The house collapsed, and she's going through those tunnels, and Victor's in there. The boy in white tells Victor, I'm supposed to help you. So she's in there hearing this.
Yes, because if you recall, when Victor and Tabitha were in the tunnels, he was telling her, be quiet, and they were making their way through the tunnels because she had fallen through. This is a clear indication that there is some time shifting things going on in portals, and people are in different times and dimensions. Because if you recall, I don't think it was the same episode that boy got stuck in that well and got thrown a rope as it was the same episode that Tabitha fell down that thing. So what that's telling us is that there is definitely something time related going on in this show. Kenny and Officer Acosta run to Julie when Ethan runs over, and they're headed over to that area, and we can see Julie is actually still on the ground, in the ground and stuff, in a real place, but mentally her brain is in that tunnel.
And while she's in that tunnel in her brain, she's hearing those Akui children, and she's seeing something that's freaking her out.
Yeah.
And it basically, when they get her and take her out of that, I don't want to call it a portal, but like.
Yeah. But before you say that could be another indication of time periods, because I think what she might have been seeing before they shook her and woke her up, I think that she was going to be seeing what happened to the Akui children from in the beginning. Right. I think she was going to see maybe the sacrifice happening or something like that, but they woke her up and brought her out of it. It's going to be interesting to see if she tries to go back in there later on. Transitions to boy, Donna and Ellis. They're back in the police station. Donna says that she needs to be brought back and basically brought to justice. And boy disagrees, said that the people will understand. And this is when she tells him, no, bro, you don't have that same equity with the people that you once had when you brought Sarah back. Ellis was say that Donna, let me take the blame. And that was weird to me. How would that change the situation, Ellis? That was weird to me. But this is the thing, though. She says, bro, it doesn't matter, because that still doesn't address the fucking elephant in the room.
Something's wrong with
Fatima. And that you taking the blame is not going to do it, bro. And then this is when we see Donna say, look, bro, if you're not going to tell him, I'm going to tell him. We're not about to sit up here and have these type of secrets going on, because this shit is dangerous for everybody.
It transitions to Victor, Sarah, Tabitha. They're in the church.
And Victor's explaining what happened.
Oh, man, this was a
Exposition
doozy. Dump.
Yeah, so much was going on down there.
Yeah, tell us, Pat.
This is when we see that Victor was all wrong, that it was Jasper
tell me,
talking to Christopher.
I'm trying to wrap my mind.
Yeah, that was a lot
happened.
to process. And Victor, he basically says, look, it was the boy in white that was telling Christopher something. And I'm going to try to paraphrase and read. I'm probably just going to dump the video right there, because this was so much going on.
The beginning. That it started with the children. What the others did to them.
What others, Victor?
The people they loved. The people they trusted.
And it says that we see the doll slumped over while he's explaining. I'm like, how did the doll go from talking to being slumped over? And then that's when he explains that it was Christopher telling the secrets, and he was telling them that
he wasn't talking to Jasper. He was talking to the boy
in the white. Basically, he was saying that the beginning would be the end would be the beginning. He's saying that basically how you fix this is change what you need to address what kind of happened in the beginning, so to speak. And he's breaking it down, and then that's when he explains that because Christopher refused to do it, go into the tree or whatever the case may be, when Victor left, he told his mom, and that's when his mom took on the mission to go free those kids. And then she tried to go into the tree because he was also saying that their blood of the sacrifice enabled the roots to grow to that like faraway tree or whatever the case may be. And that was creepy and crazy all at the same time. It transitions to Elgin. He's been...
wait a minute. It made me think too, like, so where did Victor's mom end up?
She was dead, remember? Remember, they found her outside of the tree dead, but remember, they've never addressed Victor's sister. I think Victor's sister is alive. I think either Victor's sister went into that tree. They never addressed Victor's sister. Because remember, his mom was found dead outside the tree. She never made it to the tree. Now, what killed her, we don't know.
Okay.
What were you going to say?
I was going to say, but what killed her? Another question.
Yeah. So it transitions to Elgin, and he's been told where Fatima is, and he knows that she's in that shack based on that photo. And this is when he says, look, come with me. Ellis wants you to come. I have a place for you to go. And then she's so naive because she's probably thinking, nobody knows where I'm at. Ellis had to have told him to come on down there. This is when we see Boy and Ellis. They're walking back to that shack, and they're kind of having a conversation. The boy tells him, you need to go about 4 to 5 hours deep into the woods. And he says to escape the people in the town and to stay away from the path that leads to those the fruits and the vegetables. They arrive to the shed and they see that Fatima is gone. It transitions to, Elgin and Fatima, and they're at that damn cellar.
They look like runaway slaves in that damn
moment. Yeah.
This actor was really good at playing kind and innocent, and now it's giving creepy.
And straight up like monster type person. He really turned into a different person when he was in that thing. And basically he gets her down there, and then he's like, look, you're good. That you do have something growing inside of you. And he was like, it's not yours though. And Fatima's like, whoa, what you talking about? And then that's when she tries to get out. And then that's when we see him manhandle her, and the episode ends with her dragging him back in there. Absolutely crazy episode. Got lots of details. We knew that it was going to pick up the pace. But guys, what did y'all think about the episode? What did you like? What didn't you like? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. We're going live tonight, y'all.
At 8.
Like we've never done it before. We're going live because we got to have a post.
We have to have a conversation
with y'all, and we want y'all to join us.
We need to talk to you guys.
Yes.
We need to have a Fromley meeting.
We need, like the Matthews don't.
That's what we'll call our lives, the Fromley meeting.
Yeah, they don't meet in Fromley, but we're going to meet as a community on our live.
Okay.
So don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. And as always, our watch is ended.